Laurie-Ann knows her stuff, like totally transformed the way that I've been running the speaking end of my business. It's completely changed my mindset about getting gigs. Oh my goodness, things took off like crazy. You taught me how to go out and actually get the gigs and get the gigs booked. It gave me this sense of ease and competency and this satisfaction and this assurance that now I know how to make this happen. And that confidence has improved my ability to sleep through the night. Marianne is so positive and so supportive. When you work with her, you feel like you've got her in your hip pocket. There's always this voice of encouragement that you can reach out for and just check, am I on the right track? And then when the results start to roll in, at least 300%. I mean, it's totally revolutionized everything. It's so much fun to get in front of a crowd of people and share who you are and share what you do. You do your thing. It's so much fun. And then afterwards, they all want to buy things from you. And then I get paid to speak quite well. And then I make my speaking fee and more selling my product.
Today, we are going to be talking about the identity that it takes to build your business the fast way, like getting off the struggle bus, not saying that you're on the struggle bus, but we're going to help you step into who you need to be so that you grow the business that you want with speed and not the hard way. So let's get on to the show. You're listening to Be in Demand, the podcast for honest advice, inspiring stories, and ideas for growing your business by leveraging the expert that you are. I'm your host, Laurie-Ann Mirabito, business mentor, and I'm also a reformed painfully shy girl, red wine lover, and exercise enthusiast. Join me as I share how being positioned as the expert in your industry, even if it's a busy one, will help you stand out and be the one in demand to hire and work with. Hello, everyone. So this episode is coming to you from, we were celebrating my dad's birthday recently. And if you're on my email list, you kind of heard about this story, but I really wanted to come in here and talk about this in particular because it's really going to help you with your business and stepping into who you need to be. And that means teaching your nervous system like who you need to be so that you can have the business that you want and you stop building your business the air quotes hard and long way and you start building your business the fast way. Because why not take the express lane, as I like to say? So before we get started, I just kind of want to acknowledge some of my clients have really been embracing all of these different events, whether they're virtual or in person, and they are opening up. I mean, clients are reporting to me that hey, my free 15-minute talk, produced like a 6-figure client. And what that means is that there was somebody in the audience who was listening to this particular client, loved what they had to say, and raised their hand to learn even more. And from that sales call, it turned into a bigger project, which I'm super proud of my clients when these things happen. And somebody else also was just sharing with me just this past week about how we just tweaked their presentation and they walked away with a $15,000 client. And these are real results. And this is exactly why I keep saying, and why you keep hearing me say that speaking is the fastest way to grow your business. Because when you think about it, all of those people that are in the audience, whether it's virtual or whether it's an in-person event, they raised their hand, bought a ticket, registered, but these are people who wanted to be there because of maybe the topic that you're speaking about, what the whole conference was about. There's a variety of reasons why people attend these sort of meetings. It's not just to waste time and waste money, but these are pre-qualified people. So in your audience, when you are speaking in front of the right audience, you are actually speaking to essentially pre-qualified leads. So I just wanted to share a couple of client wins because I'm just so darn proud of them. And if my clients are listening to this, because most of them do listen to the podcast, you know that I'm talking about you. So let me just kind of talk to you about this fair that my dad wanted to go to. This is how we were celebrating his birthday. And it was me and my sister. And we're going to take the day off. Let's go spend it with dad. And truth be told, I mean, the first thing that we did when we got there was to go eat lunch. And yeah, it's fair food. It's not exactly the healthiest diet, if you will. But we had a really good time. So we sat down to lunch and ended up sharing a picnic table with some other people. And my dad starts looking at the schedule and he remembers this show. So everybody at the table, which is why I'm telling you about the people that we were sharing the table with, are talking about, oh yeah, that show is at this particular time. So we're thinking, well, let's head over there. It's the other side of the fairgrounds. And it is a circus acrobatic type of show. It was about an hour long. Here's what I loved about it and what I learned about it. This was my first time seeing them, and my dad had seen them numerous times, from other times that he had gone to the fair, is that this is a family business. They have been performing like this for 100 years. So said the ringmaster. He was educating us. And the people that were in the show currently were seventh generation. 7 generations have been doing this show, performing live, not just at this particular fair or probably other fairs, but he also talked about how they've done tightrope walks, in different parts of the globe. And it was extremely impressive. And it was a great show. But here's what I noticed, which is why I'm bringing this up. At one point, they brought a 5-year-old little boy out to help with part of the act. And they mentioned that he was the 8th generation. And then they brought on another 8th generation who was going to eventually be in the show. And this was a little girl who was weeks old, being held or balanced on her daddy's hand as he just kind of raised her up. It was very safe. And I just noticed how the little baby just looked like, yeah, I do this all the time. She's just looking around at all the people, but also the 5-year-old boy. Now, he didn't have any lines. He didn't do any speaking, but you could tell he had a function. He had a role. There was a couple of little parts that he did. And he did them with such enthusiasm, and he had such a good time. He wasn't scared in front of people. And why do you think that is? At 5 years old, why isn't he afraid to be in front of people? Because after all, I'm saying this sarcastically, after all, 95% of the people are afraid of public speaking or afraid of being in front of others, afraid of being judged. Why was this 5-year-old didn't care? I mean, part of us can actually say, yeah, he had a role. He already knew what it was that he had to do, and he does it over and over again. Exactly. He does it over and over again. And he's probably been in front of people since that little girl, since he was probably just a few weeks old. I think that is exactly what this family does. It's all very intentional. So this little boy, part of his identity, and this is why I'm bringing this up, part of his identity is getting up in front of people. It's no big deal because he has really taught his nervous system that it's safe to be in front of people, that this is just what's normal. After all of his other role models, which are his parents and aunts and uncles, all these people that are in this family, this is what they all do. But he's probably been doing it again since he was weeks old. And so I would predict that this little girl, the one that was weeks old, she's going to step into this identity that, yeah, I'm not afraid to get up in front of people because that's what my family does. That's what I've been doing all of my life. So it's part of their identity and it's very intentional. Unlike a lot of people that I'm seeing online, or the people that are saying that I'm afraid to get visible, I'm afraid to do public speaking, I'm afraid to do a mini workshop or something because I'm afraid of being judged. Like these people, this family, again, intentional. And it's, it's just their identity. It's who they are versus these people that are fearful of being judged. They want to have this online business. We're like looking at all these other influencers and we're seeing what they're doing. And it's like, wow, like how do they do that? Well, what ends up happening is we see a lot of procrastination. We see a lot of like, yeah, okay, like I'll go live like maybe tomorrow or after I cook dinner or after I do XYZ. Or maybe like during like the weekend when the kids are away, when the kids are doing something, like we find lots of excuses. But really what's happening is that we're teaching our nervous system that it's okay to procrastinate. That's okay to keep putting this off. That it's okay to be afraid to put yourself out there. It's okay to be afraid to get visible. So what do? We don't. So what if you just like took on an identity, kind of like these little kids? That is, it's just normal for me to get visible. I mean, like for myself, it's normal for me to be recording this podcast. And if I sound like I'm a little nasally, it's because I've been suffering from a really bad head cold for the past week. But I am dedicated to my podcast and my audience. I am dedicated to speaking to you and making sure that I get this information out to you. So I really want to know, like, what is the identity that you have? Are you having this identity of, but I'm shy, but I'm afraid, and every time you repeat those words, I'm shy, I'm afraid, I'm not confident in front of the camera, I'm not good enough, I'm not an expert enough, you are just reinforcing that identity. So to be able to just kind of like, hey, let me take a step back and let me think about what actually is the identity that I want. When you look at some of the influencers that you probably admire, think about like, well, what do you think they think of? What do you think they believe their identity? If you walked up to them and asked them about their identity, what would they say? They might actually say, because some of my clients are like this, that, well, yeah, people are judging me. People are judging me whether I'm good, whether I'm bad, whether I trigger them, whether I don't trigger them. But I'm here to do something. And their identity is I just get visible. I get out there and I share. And that's what I want you to do. I want you just to decide, like, what do I want my identity to be? Because if you keep saying I'm shy, guess what? You're just going to have the nervous system, the body, the mindset, the subconscious mind that reinforces that you are shy. So during my Complete Camera Confidence program, I would ask the people that were in the program, like, to look in the mirror or look online, look at the camera, and do like a little live and like within the safety of this group. But just remind yourself, I'm confident. That's what I tell them. Like, just repeat over and over again. I'm confident in front of the camera. I can say what I want to say. I can do this. I'm confident. Because what you're doing is you're building that identity of being confident. Now, the actual doing of this new skill, of this affirmation, is the fastest way to getting to that new skill. Too many times I see a lot of us just like, hey, like, well, when it shows up, well, when I'm confident, I'll get on camera. When I feel like an expert, I'll start speaking. When I get asked to speak, I'll start speaking. Well, guess what? Stop waiting. It's almost like you're sitting at the bus station waiting for a bus to show up that is not going to show up because you're not even at a bus station. Take that first step. That is the fastest way to learning a new skill. And the fastest way to growing your business is to get in front of more people. To get in front of people, to raise your hand, to say, hey, I want to be that speaker at this event. If there's a networking event that you're going to, raise your hand and say, I'll speak on a topic. Keep in mind, like everybody that's there is going to admire you and your courage and the fact that you got up there, because deep down inside, they wish they could do what you're doing. So speaking really is the fastest way to getting off the struggle bus, building your business, stepping into instant authority. So I want you to keep that in mind, is just to get out there. So take those baby steps like those small children at the circus acrobat show. Take a step, because once you start taking that step, and then the next time that you want to procrastinate and you want to put it off because a little bit of fear is coming into the back of your mind, just say, I've done this before and I can do it again. I'm going to have fun this time. That's one of my big questions to my clients when they're like, yeah, but I'm scared. But what if it was fun? And that usually stops them, because they're like, gee, yeah, like what if it was fun? Well, then I'd probably do it more. Exactly. Your personality would probably come out more. And guess what happens when your personality comes out? You build that know, like, and trust instantly. And people are like, I want that, what she's talking about. That problem that she can help, I have that problem. I want her solution. And you're going to see people are going to raise their hand and walk up to you. Because remember, when you're speaking, at meetings, at events, at conferences, at a high-end mastermind, those are people who have already raised their hand and paid something to be in that audience, whether they have a membership, like a chamber year-long membership, whether they paid to attend that meeting. But either way, like you are talking to qualified leads, absolutely qualified leads. So I hope that you found this episode helpful. And just kind of like think about those small children and think about the identity that you want to be stepping into. And if you are tired of being on the struggle bus and you want to start growing your business the fast way, as a matter of fact, speaking is the fastest way to get authority, instant authority, and build your business. Fill up your programs and have as many leads coming in as possible. Then you need to book a call and learn more about my in-demand methodology. The link to book that call is right down in the show notes, but it is chatwithla.com. And just put a little note that you want to know more about the in-demand methodology. So until next time, be in demand. Thanks for hanging out with me. Be sure to hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode. And join me over in my private Facebook group for more tips, community, and free trainings. You'll find the link in the show notes. You can also help this podcast reach more listeners by leaving a review. And as a thank you, each month I pick one of my reviewers to win a free coaching call with me. So if you haven't done so already, please leave a review and you could be the next winner.